In today's video, I'll show you a series of maneuvers how I dock into and back out of the slip. Videos were recorded in different days with different weather and current conditions. I have to say docking and undocking processes hugely depend on the marina, and more importantly the wind and the current. My experience so far is limited to this marina with generally mild to moderate wind and current conditions. Before we start, I'll introduce ourselves, so here we go. Hi, we're Nathan and Katie. We just started sailing and fulfilled our dream of sailing underneath the Golden Gate Bridge. We're new and we love every minute of it. This channel will document our journey sailing in the bay by featuring different destinations. So let's roll! Before I dive into step-by-step maneuvers, there are some general principles of docking and undocking. Marina is normally crowded, and in such a tight space, the boat speed needs to be slow, and with the correct angle to the slope. However, the speed can only be slowed to a point that the boat doesn't lose the steerage, otherwise you will lose your bow. Wind and current will blow your bow over, then it's very hard to regain steerage and turn the bow back on track without making a wider turn that's usually difficult in a tight space. If that happens, your best friend are lots of fenders. So the boat speed and angle should be adjusted accordingly to the wind and the current speed and direction. If the wind is strong, you might need spring lines to help the boat pivot to get in and out of the slip. This marina in the video is actually shielded from strong wind and current, so it's relatively easy to get in and out. But I'll pause and point out what you might need to do if there is stronger wind. To start backing out of the slip, I untied my dock lines and spring lines and doubled starboard stern lines because the wind is mild. Normally in stronger wind I double windward bow line and only bring it on board after I start to reverse. I want the bow pointing to the center of the slip while I'm reversing. In this case, wind is mild and the bow doesn't move. After I started to reverse, prop walk will kick the stern to the port side and straight boat up immediately. I centered the wheel. You could turn wheel a quarter to starboard side if your boat has strong prop walk to the port side. After bringing double line on board and putting gear in reverse, I gave it about quarter throttle just to get the boat moving. Prop walk kicked the stern to the port side and straight up the bow. When the boat is more than halfway out of the slip, I started to turn wheel port side and put throttle back to neutral. When the bow was almost out of the slip and the bow pulpit cleared the piling, I turned the wheel hard port side and let the boat cruise. When the bow has safe distance to neighboring boat when pivoting, I turned the wheel hard starboard side and put gear forward and gave it a solid burst on throttle, and the prop wash kicked the bow to the starboard side and straight up the boat right in the middle of fairway. Most sailboat pivot around keel that's slightly behind the mast. Then I eased the throttle after the boat gained steerage and cruised out of the gate in very slow speed. Do not forget to watch out your surroundings in the crowded marina. What would I do differently in much stronger wind? So let's reverse the tape. First is to double the windward bow line and use a very long line. I would put in gear and start to reverse first, then gradually bring the line on board without losing the bow while boat is moving backwards. In this case, you need a crew member on deck to control the line. Docking into the slip in mild wind and current is a very different experience from docking in strong wind and current. You need to know the wind and current direction and strength and estimate how they will push your bow over. It's important not to lose steerage, especially in strong wind and current. So you have to choose the proper angle to steer towards the slip and maintain speed to control the bow pointing to the right direction. This marina has a mild to moderate wind and current. After entering the gate, I shift to the idle forward and then neutral to keep the boat on the left side of the fairway. Right when the bow is aligned with the port side of a neighboring boat, I started small turns towards the slip. A different angle to see where I started to turn. Some people make big turns with wider angle. I like a few small turns because I think it's less vulnerable to get a bow blown over in stronger wind. Remember boat pivots around keel. After the boat pivoted into the slip, I aimed the port side corner and started to reverse to slow down the boat and eventually stop it with the prop walk, kicking the stern over to the port side to straight up the boat. Then I got off and quickly tied the dock line depending on the situation. Usually it's a forward spring line. If wind is strong and there is a boat next to you, it's important to tie the windward line quickly. Okay, so that's how I dock and undock. So far it works for me. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.